Productive panel here. Let's assemble our players. Jamie Jackson is with us, Democratic strategist, founder of Vantage Global Media, alongside Republican strategist Lonnie Chen, American Public Policy Studies Fellow at the Hoover Institution. It's great to have both of you with us, and we have a lot to talk about this day after the primaries, although I need to ask you both about what took place earlier this hour. A war powers vote just passed the House. Jamie, fourth, I guess, was the charm. It may or may not pass the Senate. Does it matter if the president's going to veto it?
This was a significant vote and a win. I applaud Ranking Member Gregory Meeks of the House Foreign Affairs Committee for getting this over the finish line. And while this may be symbolic if the president chooses not to comply, I think that the Congress has a responsibility under Article 1 of the Constitution to not only conduct oversight over this administration's actions in Iran, but also they have the authority to declare war. And so regardless of whether or not the president decides to comply, Congress still needs to do their job, and that's what they did today.
Well, of course, as we consider this war powers resolution, it's not that alone that Republicans have rebuked the president on. We saw pushback against the ballroom money in the reconciliation bill, the anti-weaponization fund. Now, the fund is dead. The ballroom money is out of said reconciliation package. Lonnie, the losses for President Trump within his own party seem to be stacking up here.
Well, let's not forget it's an election year. And so members of Congress of either party are going to be interested in ensuring that they have the right amount of political cover necessary. And where the president is doing things that they perceive or that they analyze to be politically unpopular, they're going to be against it, whether that's the anti-weaponization fund or in this case, certainly the Iran war has been growing in unpopularity. And as energy prices remain elevated, that's going to continue to be a concern. So I think members of Congress in some ways are covering their own rear ends, which I don't blame them for doing, but that's the reality of the situation we have here. So I think as long as the president is proposing things that members of Congress believe is not in their political interest, they're going to vote against it. And I think that's what you saw today, and you're going to continue to see between now and November.
Well, we also learned that the president's endorsements do have a limit to their success. Randy Feenstra lost last evening to a Maha-backed rival named Zach Lon. This is the Iowa primary, of course, and one that we were watching pretty carefully. The president likes to say 38-0, Lonnie, and I realize you're going to win some and lose some, but does this tell you anything about his impact in this midterm cycle?
Not really. I mean, I think he's still the largest figure in Republican politics. He is still the best able to motivate the Republican base. He is still largely the thing and the political force that most Republicans respond to. But I don't think it's unreasonable for there to be some situations where he's not going to be able to get his way, and this is just one example. But frankly, he's been successful in a lot of other contexts, and those have been some really tough contexts. I mean, beating Tom Massey in Kentucky, beating Bill Cassidy in Louisiana. These are people who are highly regarded in their states, who have done very well over a large number of years. So I think the president's influence is very obvious. I think the question now becomes to what degree that becomes a liability in situations where you might have closely contested races when his popularity is not exactly high amongst Democrats or in purple or blue states.
Well, I just wonder if Iowa should be considered one of those purple states, because, yes, we have a Democratic nominee going against Ashley Hinson now in Josh Turek, maybe a win for Chuck Schumer that Zach Walz didn't win. But are Democrats wise to be throwing money at a state that Trump won in 2024 by, what, 13 points?
Well, this is a critical state for Democrats to take back the Senate. And the Cook polls are showing that this is now possibly leaning in the Democratic direction. The Democrats, Senator Schumer put forward a strong candidate with Turek. There was this concern that the anti-establishment insurgent candidate was going to be successful. And he, in fact, Walz vowed that if he was to move forward, that he would not support Schumer. So I think this was a win for the Democratic establishment, and this is a must-win state for Democrats if they want to take back the Senate.
Talk to us about Republicans in California, Lonnie Chen, something you know a little bit about as you join us from California. Steve Hilton is leading the charge here in the jungle primary for governor, and it looks like this insurgent candidate, Spencer Pratt, forgive me, I have to bring his name back. I wasn't a Hills fan. Is actually going to make the runoff for mayor? Do you see both of these actually being in place when the votes are counted?
Yeah, I do think that's the way things are headed. I think the Steve Hilton, Javier Becerra matchup is likely going to happen in California for governor this November. And then in Los Angeles, you have Spencer Pratt, the sort of insurgent Republican, although now he sort of says he doesn't belong to any party, going against the incumbent Karen Bass. Look, I think a couple things out of the California primaries last night. Number one is a strong anti-incumbent bent that we saw, particularly in the city of Los Angeles, where Karen Bass barely got to the mid-30s. She's going to have a tough reelection campaign because there are a lot of things going wrong in the city of L.A. And statewide, certainly that reflects Steve Hilton's performance a little stronger than we expected from the polling going in. But I just want to temper everyone's expectations for a minute because Republicans have a tough time winning in California. I've been there.
All right, Lonnie Chen and Jamie Jackson, our political panel this evening. Thank you both. And for more coverage, check out the Washington